This is Natalie here with Brian Howard, aka Broon of the MooNiE and Broon Show. We're here at the Renaissance Fair. What led to your decision to do a career, with comedy?
I've been doing it my entire adult life.
Wow.
So I am one of those, I guess, lucky people that found what they love doing very early. I'm not a rich person per se. I'm rich in reward because I love what I do. I do well. I'm able to pay the bills and and pay the mortgage and keep things going, keep the family safe and everything.
Great.
But because I kind of fell into it early, there wasn't really a plan. So to answer your question, was there any sudden inspiration? No, except that it was all spread out over a 20-year span. I would have little touchstone moments where, hey, that was nice. That rewarded me in a nice way, and I'm glad that I was inspired enough to try something different. And I guess I could say probably the best example of being inspired to do something is because I do variety comedy. I'm either using a whip or I'm eating fire, I'm doing a card trick. Every one of those things came from a moment of, aha, what if?
Oh, okay.
So a lot of I have a goofy joke in my show where I put eyeballs on my hand to pretend like I'm going to crack a target out of the mouth, I say, and then I put eyeballs on my hand. It's just my hand as a puppet, basically. And it's just a simple goofy gag that I just thought up on my way to a gig one time, and I rushed into a grocery store, bought ping pong balls, and I had a Sharpie already, and I literally made the prop. And I did it that night in the show, and it was hilarious. So yeah, you get suddenly inspired to do something really goofy and silly.
Great.
And what's great about Renaissance fairs, if I can just add this, if anybody doesn't know, I've been to one, they're really the last, not the last bastion, but they're one of the last bastions of just silliness and irreverence in our culture. Everything today is, there's so much reality television, people behaving very badly. This is a place where you can come where people are generally charming and funny and, just has a lot of fun.
I agree. It's a wonderful atmosphere here. Great. And then, I guess leading up, what's wonderful that you found your cause so early and you've been doing what you love. Were there any challenges along the way? Like, can you think of any moments where you really had to get through something, either on a personal, interpersonal, or
Well, I almost died once on stage.
Oh my.
There's a joke, a story in my show, which is absolutely true. I used to do a suspended straitjacket escape, and suspended above the audience's head, and I would get out of a straitjacket. I started doing that stunt when I was 21 or 20. I can't remember what age I was. And it was a staple of my show until 2004. The same year I was married, interestingly enough.
Congratulations.
And thank you. And I was doing my stunt at the Bristol Renaissance Fair in Chicago, Illinois, and a piece of equipment gave way, which was my fault. It wasn't tied off correctly, and I fell from about 13 feet, so not a non-lethal height, as the doctors told me later.
Yeah.
But I got pretty banged up, and my brain swelled.
Oh, no.
And when your brain swells, that's what can unfortunately kill you. Not to be a downer, but at that moment, I had to really kind of make sure, one, am I going to do that anymore? And I decided not to because I'm getting older. I have a child now. I'm married now. I can't just so idly throw risk out there quite as much. There's still risk. I'm still balancing a sword on my chin. It is a real sword. I still eat fire. That's real. The bowling balls I'm juggling, that could be in the head. These are all real things. But they're kind of managed a little bit.
Okay.
But, after that stunt, when I came back, after my convalescence, my first show's back, just improvising. I do a lot of improv. I started telling people the story of what happened to me, and I ended up finding some funny moments. So I took that moment, and just merely out of trying to look at the funny side of everything, one of the funnier jokes in my show now happens in a story I tell about that.
Great.
So I'm very, very proud of that. So I hate that I almost had to die to get this punchline, but,
Do you find that at times, you're going through something that's troubling in your life, and you can turn to this as a release?
Yeah, there are times when things can get stressful. And doing anything on stage where 200 people will cheer and applaud when you're done is, of course, very, very satisfying. That's why you hear stories all the time about performers who are either very, very grounded, or quite the contrary. You always hear stories in Hollywood about somebody who seems a little almost immature. I think that's why. It's because if you don't handle that correctly, of somebody constantly telling you how great you are, you have to realize they're talking about how good you're doing your job.
Your performance.
Yeah, it's like if I tell a plumber he's great. The plumber goes, thank you, I did a very good job plumbing. He doesn't let it go to his head. But since, as a performer, your product is you. It's my face, it's my wits, it's my mouth, it's my juggling, it's my skill set. You have to say thank you, but don't. So yeah, when you get a little stressed, it's nice. It's nice to fall back on this when I'm doing shows and feel good about myself. But I try not to let it become can't become the fantasy world that you live in. You can't become you can't be that guy on stage all the time, because quite frankly that guy would be annoying to be around all the time. It's great up there in front of 200 people, but it's not good talking to you right now. If I were that guy, I'd be obnoxious. And